there are some people that only strength train, only do resistance training, and they think because their heart rate's getting really elevated, they're filling that cardiovascular aerobic exercise bin because their heart rate's getting elevated. But Dr. Levine came on the podcast and said that really wasn't the case.
Definitely not the case. So strength training cannot be your form of cardio, I think is the too long, didn't read version of that. So yes, while it is true that your heart rate will increase when you do strength training, if you continue to do strength training and compare it to aerobic exercise training, for one, you don't get the same improvement. So if you do, if you look at all the benefits of aerobic exercise training, that include like improvements in endothelial function, cardiovascular structure, like we talked about, blood pressure, you don't get those same benefits from resistance exercise training. So that is kind of one reason why you should do both. Why endurance runners should strength train, why strength training people should do a lot of endurance exercise training. And the reason for that, though, is interesting and is kind of rooted in, the mechanisms of why heart rate increases during endurance exercise versus aerobic exercise. So during aerobic exercise, your heart rate increases because there is an elevated metabolic demand in the muscle, and therefore your cardiac output needs to increase to deliver more blood flow to the muscles, and that means your heart rate and your stroke volume both increase. During strength training, though, the drive for the increase in heart rate is mainly from the autonomic nervous system. So it's driven by central command. So if you think about, if you just are here, and Dr. Levine used the example where you're just clenching your fist as hard as possible or like grasping something maybe, well, your heart rate is going to increase, but that's just due to a drive from your central nervous system versus a metabolic demand increasing in the muscle, or like the drive for increased blood flow during aerobic exercise. So your heart rate increases for different reasons during strength training compared to aerobic exercise, and you don't get the cardiac adaptations from strength training that you do from aerobic exercise. So they're not the same. They're not comparable. Yes, heart rate increases during strength training, but it is not a form of quote unquote cardio or endurance aerobic exercise.